So y'all remember that 1980s Dodge shortbed truck that Dad and I worked way too hard and pulled out of the woods a few weeks back? Well, somebody commented on the video and said, you need to dream bigger. So I did just that, and I picked up this 1986 flavor D150 shortbed, two-wheel drive, a truck that I've wanted ever since I was little, and I consider it my dream truck. So here we are with a much better starting point than that last truck that we were planning on shorting a long bed chassis down and making everything work for that truck and putting two to make one. Instead, we're going to take three to make one better one. I'm going to get straight to the point. That motor was being more difficult than a one-eyed cat trying to watch two mouse holes at the same time. The 318, she just did not want to run. I messed with it for like 12 hours. And at the end of the day, guys, I didn't really want to use the 318. And you know, that first truck we picked up has a 360. So that's kind of why we're here right now. Turns out that 318, we did a compression test, 4 and 6 was like 15 pounds all it had, and that motor is junk. So we're gonna wrap some parts off of that and get this 360 that's behind me here cleaned up, and hopefully that's a pretty solid motor. So far so good. Got the headers broke free over here. These ones are loose. We'll be able to pop it out once the motor actually raises up. But getting this motor pulled, cleaned it up a little bit yesterday. But Dad and I are gonna keep trucking. Got the drive shaft out. Got the cherry picker loaded up. Hopefully we can get her out today. It sounded pretty healthy when we got her fired up. Got to pull out of the woods. So we got a decent amount of goodies right there that you guys are gonna see later. But I've been working on this motor. I got the old headers off, old carburetor, and some other things. We went gold because if you're gonna spend the time to paint a motor, why would you do it a factory color? So that's what I decided to go with instead of the factory blue. I'm not gonna say this is gonna be a beautiful job, but it's gonna be a job. So far it is doing all right. Doesn't look half bad. We'll see if the paint actually lasts. I gotta tape up this side here and get it painted. I got the old motor pulled out last night. Big old engine bay. It was a little bit of a pain, but we did it in a few hours. Now, it's the next morning. We're gonna start working on this thing. We got some challenges that are gonna be faced here with this one. Hopefully we can get this thing dropped in today.
Oh, this don't get right out. Let's here.
This one's pretty stuck and it's liable to break off inside the motor.
Let's do them all.
When Dad was pulling all this off right here, this water pump, you can see that thing was pretty destroyed. The impeller pretty messed up. I was pulling this starter off of a parts truck. This bolt ended up breaking off right here, so Dad just welded on that, got it nice and hot. It might be a cycle here where we have to bust this open too. And if we bust that open, I might go ahead and get a timing chain. Probably should do it anyways, but we're being cheap. There she is. Oh yeah, that thing was rusted big time. Should have known better, but the timing chain, she's pretty loose. All right, you guys aren't gonna believe this, but we've just been messing with this for quite some time. We're gonna do the timing chain. This thing locked up. It has been power washed and it's been sitting, had a lot of moisture in it, I guess. We took a borescope down in here and checked the cylinder walls out, and this one had a little bit of rust down in a pocket where moisture was sitting. She's turning over good now. So what we're doing, we're gonna get this dot right here lined up with a dot on the bottom one. So you make sure that your camshaft is lined up with the crankshaft and you don't mess up your timing, and you have a reference point of like this, if that makes any sense. First time ever having a torque wrench on the channel. 35 foot-pounds for your camshaft locking bolt. Right, I was super excited about these headers. They're super high quality, thick flange, stainless steel, very nice welds. These are provided by Dynavox. They sent these for free. They're not gonna work. So we got the passenger side in right here. That was super easy. The 10 minutes of work, threw that header in. It looks great in there. And the driver's side is a whole different story. And yes, you can comment all you want. You're supposed to go from the bottom up, but folks, it doesn't matter. We tried that right here. This is hitting the front suspension down here, and all back in here is getting in your shift linkage to your trans, and it only gets about this far forward. We need another like 2.5 inches forward to make that actually work. So these aren't gonna work. These are made for an A-body MOPAR, not a Dodge truck like they advertise. With that being said, they are very nice. We'll use them in the future. I appreciate Dynavox sending them out. Make sure to check them out if you have an A-body Mopar. So what we're gonna do instead, we're gonna do Hedman headers. A lot of you guys on the Facebook groups recommended these. These aren't gonna be stainless. They're just going to be old pop metal. Well, here they are. They come with a paint that's gonna burn off. A lot of people will strip that first, but we're just gonna bolt them on and run it, and this will come off, then we'll paint them with some VHT. Is that right?
Yeah.
VHT, paint. Let's get them thrown on here. With the Hedman headers, they did send gaskets, but they're the cheap paper ones. The Dynavox headers, they came with this, what was that, composite gasket, which is a much better quality. We'll be running those. On this side, we have 2 studs. If you're doing this on your 360, the front stud and the back stud, or bolts. So these are actually coolant passageways. So you'll have coolant running through here. So you want to put some blue sealant on this whenever you put the bolts through.
So if you take this off And you pump the
Coolant
coolant
come out.
system? No way.
I was gonna do it the wrong way and I was just gonna run this stud, but Ross was like, his OCD was driving him crazy, and we gotta do it anyways because you can see this flange isn't thick enough and our nut isn't gonna be able to make it to hold on our header. So we're gonna pull that guy off, hopefully with the old vice grips made in the Taiwan task force. So this is just gonna go great.
Oh. Not going? Those threads are done for now.
Already.
Now you gotta go for it. Otherwise we're welding.
I think I just need to pull the header and I can get on the stick.
Yeah, I think you get a better grip on it because to get the back one there anyways, you're gonna have to pull it off. Almost got it. There we go. That's gonna be hard to get off.
Not a chance.
Not going?
Oh, it's moving.
Yeah, it's moving.
It's
There you go,
moving.
it's going. Let's go.
Hold on, but we haven't even made it anywhere yet because it could stop anytime. This is why you don't need a gym.
I got a good view there.
I'm sure it was a great one.
Yeah, the whole stud is broken off inside it.
I don't like that. It's not getting easier. Oh, that wasn't near as bad as it could have been. Very surprised, but we got both of them out. Now I'll be able to put the ARP bolts in, and it'll look good,
Nice and shiny.
and they'll actually function versus what we had right there. Restored. Header's in, we're getting the starter. The starter fits pretty tight. I'm kind of worried about our positive coming off the battery right here where it hooks up in the solenoid wire because that's pretty small and it's pretty close to this header, but I guess we'll see. We're about ready to get this thing fired up. We found top dead center, got the spark plug wires all done. We got a starter in it, we got the transmission cooler lines hooked up. One thing with the Edelbrock carburetor, so this is a factory intake for a 360. You can see right here, we had to run this spacer right here because we couldn't open up the throttle because the primaries, they're hitting the intake and bottoming out. If you got them Holly, I think that would work. We ran a block off plate for the fuel pump, and instead we're gonna do this electric fuel pump with a regulator. Got some belts to throw on here, put some antifreeze in it, and I think we're ready to fire it up after that. Alright, try it. Whoa! Timing's all jacked up.
Oh, right there, that's gotta be.
truck running, so now we need to rob parts off this turd right here. This was the original truck we were gonna build. So what we gotta do, Dad already stole the shifter out of it. It has a Hurst floor shifter rather than using the steering column shifter. And hopefully that works with the bench seat and we don't need buckets, because this truck over here is where we're gonna be stealing our seat, we believe. It's got a pretty good bench on it that I'll be throwing a seat cover on. I know it won't match, maybe sometime get bucket seats. So we're gonna get this stuff yanked out and then hopefully we'll get that shifter working. Don't know if the transmission's good, but the truck that the motor came out was that one right there. That thing was obviously running and driving when it wrecked, so we're hoping that trans is good and that the motor lasts. You guys might have noticed that we've been time-lapsing a lot of stuff. That's because it's been over at my grandpa's shop and he's in there watching TV, doing his own thing, and he's already being nice enough to let us use it, so we're not jibber-jabbering.
You can pull it out. You ain't got enough fur on your goodness.
Get it broke loose over there. I do have a full set of these wheels that we could run. I'm struggling to find wheels.
What are you gonna do when you get it out of there? There, He-Man. You have wires hooked up yet?
Wires to the seat?
Yeah, I got it.
Any goodies?
China.
Here's the Hurst floor shifter we're gonna use right here. Kind of cool. So now we got the shifter out. We're gonna go on the bottom side of the truck and outline so we can get a template made of where we need to cut our hole, and we'll do some measurements to get it right. Arts and crafts.
You wanna live in here? You need a house.
Whoa! Hey, Baker.
25 inches.
Yeah, first look at the floorboards is not great. She is really soft. That's what allowed us to do the AC delete right there. 25.
Yep. That ain't right. This floor is different.
Quite a bit different.
Oh no, that may be right. I see. You need to let me do this. I know how I was holding that. You don't know what you're doing, and I'm.
Are you serious? Oh gosh, dang it! This part right here is way higher, and the measurements are different with this whole transmission tunnel. So all our angles and dangles right here are going to be different. So hopefully we can make that floor shifter work, because we really need to use that. I'm gonna do some measurements, see what we got going on here. And it's crazy how different the transmission tunnels are. Quite the hack job we did there. Don't look too close.
Down there. Of course, that screw ain't gonna hold nothing.
You're gonna have to build a framework though to go around that.
That's nuts.
Look at it on the dash.
You gotta get
Is
that
that park?
Yeah, it's park.
We need to persuade that all kind of up.
Get something to do it.
that transmission line. Sounds good. A lot of smoke. She's been sitting for probably 30 years though, folks. First time this motor has driven. Well, folks, that was quite a bit of work in a short period of time. I'm glad the truck's running. It sounds awesome. It still needs exhaust, and it still needs a lot more, actually. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to comment what you think. And if you're not subscribed, I consider you to subscribe. And if you aren't, you must not like cars. I mean, come on. Another reason to subscribe, we got some good content to come. I mean, look at this thing behind us. Good night.